Hello, this is Brian Resney, President of Resney Wealth Management. I'm bringing you an important update about the economy and the investment market so you can better understand what we see in the global landscape. You know, we've literally received dozens and dozens of phone calls over the last week or so from our radio and TV listeners, really about our market position, what we see in the mistakes that investors are making now and really all the time. And the bottom line is this. Resney Wealth Management runs a very adaptive, meaning changing to market conditions, and objective investment strategy. Adaptive is really the key, and what that basically means is this. Whether the economy or the markets are favoring bonds or cash, real estate, gold, maybe currencies, long the market, short the market, whatever the asset category or sector, our portfolios can freely move between those. It does two things. It gives our clients upside potential, and it also does a great job at controlling major downside risk. And unfortunately, the vast majority of investors do not really have an investment strategy at all because they're probably using a so-called advisor or a Wall Street firm who actually is a brokerage account and isn't actually responsible to manage your money. Without an investment strategy, you're basically like a ship without a rudder. You're just going to go wherever basically the current takes you, and unfortunately sometimes it's into the rocks. What we're finding right now and all the questions we're receiving from our TV and radio shows about the bond market. I firmly believe too many investors overloaded the boat in bonds. Now, not all bonds act the same, but I can tell you from what we're seeing of new clients coming into Resney Wealth Management, we're seeing a vast majority of those new clients overloaded on long and intermediate term municipal bonds, treasuries, and bond mutual funds. We're seeing investors come in with 60 to 80+% weightings in these intermediate to long-term bond funds, and unfortunately that's exactly where you don't want to be in today's economy. There's other income alternatives that we've talked about repeatedly, not only on my TV and radio show, but also what are currently in our global tactical portfolios for all the Resney Wealth Management clients. Traditional bond investing, especially intermediate and long-term municipal bonds, funds, in my personal opinion, are going to be one of the worst performers over the next 3, 5, and 10 years. And if you're a non-client and you own too many bonds, unfortunately, I think the bond market's going to be the demise of your portfolio. So heed this warning. Too much money in fixed income and traditional bonds is going to hurt your return and could cause catastrophic losses in your portfolio. With that said, the economy continues to get just a little bit better. Our global tactical opportunities across the board continue to be weighted in small mid-cap, not only in the U.S., but in the emerging market economies. We've actually made just a few changes to our global tactical portfolios, but not a lot. In fact, relatively strong throughout most of this year has been small and mid-cap in the U.S. and small cap in emerging markets. We continue to avoid large cap emerging market and developed economies outside the U.S. because, again, they've been relatively weak. The key to our investment success and our clients' investment success is our investment strategy. It's adaptive. What that means is it's not one-sided or lopsided. It doesn't just always favor bonds, and it doesn't always just favor stocks. We look at all asset categories around the world and can freely rotate within and out of those categories. When they're out of favor, we're out. When they're in favor, we can get in. Unfortunately, if I look at the typical client that hires my firm, their portfolio is pretty much stacked up in stock and bond-related mutual funds or stocks. Unfortunately, if the stock market in the U.S. primarily is not doing well, your portfolio doesn't do well. If you're overstacked 80% in the bond market, and bonds now have greatly suffered in loss of return in the last, let's say, 5 or 6 months, your portfolio is going to suffer losses or mediocre returns. At the end of the day, as I always tell my clients, our strategy is extremely adaptive, and risk management is a big important part of what we do because of that adaptivity. Your portfolio, if you're a non-client, needs to be adaptive in addition. You can't just freely own stock or bond related investments, and primarily in the U.S. I talk about this all the time on my TV and radio show, and unfortunately the vast majority of investors around the world, and these are some statistics that come out of some of the major research firms, the vast majority of investors own less than 6% of their assets in investments outside the U.S., meaning 94% of most investors' portfolios are invested in the U.S. bond and stock-related markets. You're missing the boat on all those other vast investment categories that could do very well even when the stock market's not doing well. I ultimately believe the economy will get better. I ultimately believe this is probably the most hated rally we've seen in various forms of sectors in the equity markets in a long time. I think too many investors unfortunately base their decisions on emotion or gut reaction, which is always going to be wrong. You need to follow a strict strategy like Resney Wealth Management. Our global tactical opportunity portfolio is adaptive and objective. I firmly believe not only are we at a great start for 2013, I firmly believe our strategy will guide us through the treacherous waters that we'll see in the future, and I firmly believe as we rotate freely into those relatively stronger sectors, and I always talk about a horse race, the strongest horse or fastest horse wins the race. That's exactly what our global tactical opportunity portfolio strategy is designed to do. It's designed to win the race. If you're a client and you have a question about your portfolio, please give us a call. If you're not a client and want to become a client, call my office. There is a difference. We invite you to experience it. Money management without the conflicts of Wall Street. Give our office a call and make sure you tune into my live TV show tonight in Southwest Florida. If you're unable or not in the viewing area of my TV show, it will be uploaded on our website in the media center by noon tomorrow. And also make sure you listen to my radio show this Sunday from 10 to noon. Make sure you have yourself a safe and profitable week.